and welcome back to We Bombastic Few, where your introductory host forgets that he has the introduction. Today with me I have the unexpected guest, Daniel.
Hi, very happy to be here this week, unexpectedly.
And the slightly more expected, Brent.
What up? It's your boy, Consistent Brent. That's my name now. So this week, right? I'm going through Walmart, and I was coming back from college, so I already had to buy a bunch of stuff, and I entered that mode when you're in a store where you've already put so much stuff in the shopping cart that who cares what you add, right? You pass something you even mildly want, throw it in the cart. And
That
so
has
I'm going
never
through.
happened to me.
Me either.
This is a you
Continue.
problem.
Please continue.
Don't lump us
All
in
right.
with you.
Well, no, it totally happens. Where it's a mental point where you've reached where you've already spent so much money in your head. You're like, what's a little bit more?
No, can't say it's. no
Anyway,
problem.
That's
so
not a
I'm
thing.
walking by, right, and I see a car stereo, and I'm like, dang, that'd be pretty nice to replace my car stereo because I currently don't have Bluetooth or an auxiliary cable. And this had both, and it was only $30, and it came with replacement speakers. And I was like, "Oh my goodness, this will be perfect." But so you have to install it yourself. And I was like, "I go to a school of engineers. Surely myself and friends can figure this out." And so I buy it, and I do a little bit of research, and then I drive over to a friend's house because I don't have the tools here to do it. And so we're replacing things, and so I've got a 2001 Chevy Impala, which in order to replace the stereo, it involves removing the entire dash because it's all one piece. And so there's like 8 screws in miscellaneous places, but they're in segments. So you take off like one piece of plastic to access one set of screws, and then once you're able to remove that set of plastic, you can get a new set of screws. And so basically we remove the entire thing, we undo the radio, get it out, pull out all the connections, realize we don't have the proper tools we need, put everything back in, and basically it was all for naught. But and so like the entire time I'm parked on the side of the street, and the entire time I'm working on this, there is no one behind me. And so I get put everything back, get in the car, start it, and I had to put on the emergency brake because you had to shift shift into first gear in order to take the dash off. And so I forgot about that. I was like, oh crap, the emergency brake's on. So I turned that off, and then I keep backing up, and I didn't look behind me. And so I bumped into the car behind me. But it was okay because only the license plate got bent. And I left a note, and I said, sorry, I bent your license plate. Here's my phone number if you want to contact me for damages.
And here's my podcast.
Yeah, well, here's my podcast too. I should have. Maybe that's a good brand.
That's why we need business cards. We need business cards
Yeah.
very
to
badly.
leave immediately next to the I crashed into your car. Right next to it, business card with a podcast.
This is how we grow. We just start hitting people's cars in parking lots. And
Anyway,
leaving.
if they I now know from previous experience, and you, the viewer, knows too. It's $8 to replace your license plate, and so if they contact me for damages more than $8, I'm gonna say no, because I'm only replacing them. Maybe I should have stolen the license plates.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that would have been the play, because then they wouldn't have even known it was bent.
Exactly.
Interesting.
If only you now
And that's a
were
true
there
story.
to guide
And
you
so,
the other
in
day.
conclusion, it was not a great day for me.
So,
And I missed out on a sale on a Jurassic Park Monopoly set, so I was very sad.
so do tell, why did you not look into if the stereo was compatible with your car?
Well, no, so
how
I
to
did. It's just
dismantle it, see if the
basically,
tools were proper.
the-
There's a lot of things where things could have gone a lot better, and you just simply
I
I think-
basically I didn't have a crimper, and or like I didn't have a wire stripper, a wire cutter, or a crimper, and because I had assumed my friend would have them, who is an electrical engineer. But
Yeah,
he
imagine
did
being
not.
an electrical engineer and not having those things on hand.
I think I have.
What
them
kind
at
of
my
electrical
house.
engineer?
So that brings another argument. How can you assume that another electrical engineer has a tool when you yourself are an electrical engineer?
It was more hopeful, and I was kind of hoping they would line up. Like it was small odds, but I had a dream. I believed.
Maybe the real
But-
replacement stereo was the cars we bumped along the way.
Also, my $30 stereo is currently sitting at a $75 stereo after all the because I've had to buy an adapter and then you need a mounting kit, and so.
Did you look
my
up any?
$30 stereo?
Did you look
sitting
up
at
anything
75.
about this new stereo in the store before you purchased the item?
No, it was a $30 stereo. Why?
Oh my God.
That's all I need to
okay.
know.
You
Well,
are
to
so
be
reckless with your
fair-
spending, Brent.
To be fair to Brent here, there is a certain point in manual reading and looking into parts that I'd rather just take something apart and see if I can do it than look to see if I can do it before I buy the thing.
Exactly. It's a learning experience, and I learned a lot that day. Such as, even if
Check your mirrors
I
before
genuinely
going in reverse.
I literally don't know how that car got behind me, though. My friend claims to have seen it parked behind me. I deny it. There's no way. I don't know how that car got there, but we were working on it for like half an hour, and there was no one behind me at any point. And it's mind-boggling to me, even now, that there was a car behind me. And that I had a different friend who was in the shout out to Joel. He was in the car, and it's like it's the funniest thing, because it's like reverse right, hit the car, and it's like immediately put it in park, and then we just sit there in silence, like doesn't laugh, doesn't like do like a gasp or anything, just sits there in silence for a solid like 20 seconds before getting out. And
Okay,
checking down.
has how many shoutouts has Joel gotten? Because I feel like we have to like start reeling them in if he's not going to listen to this podcast.
I don't know. He said he started because he had listened to one episode and then he started listening again. So, you better be listening, Joel. Although I think he's starting at the beginning, so it might take him a while to get here.
Hello, future Joel, and future
just-
every other listener.
Invest in Dogecoin. It's coming back.
That does not how it to work. We did this last week or 2 weeks ago, whatever it was.
No, but this time, no. I understand that, but I do know Dogecoin's coming back.
Oh, how do you know?
Not actual advice. Disclaimer. Because dogs are hot, and they're in.
This just in, Brent thinks dogs are hot.
Yep, they're the hot topic of the summer.
That too.
True.
Anyway, that's my story for the day.
My story for the day is near the end of your story for the day. I looked down because I took off my to work. I wear like a button-up shirt, right? And I took it off, so I'm just wearing my undershirt, and I just realized my undershirt is inside out.
Nice going.
Yeah.
An even more tragic story. So, just like any other math class, it's like sectioned off by you guessed it, sections, or it's like chapter 8.1, 8.2, or whatever. Well, so I was doing chapter 8, I think, point something, and I watched all the lectures, all right, and then I started doing the homework for the respective section, and I spent like an hour on these like 2 problems that I like she didn't introduce the how to do like these certain elements, so I was just trying to figure out on my own. Well, believe it or not, I don't know, like I very much wanted to be like finish what I started and then go to the next section. Sure enough, I finally gave up after like more than an hour on these problems or something like that. And the next section, the first thing that gets brought up is how to do that. And it's the most frustrating thing because I simply was just trying to be disciplined and finish what I started, but no, I had to waste time. That's my tragic story. Much more tragic than having to
Going
replace
school.
license plates.
What class is this for?
Hey now,
Just calculus.
I know you never mentioned what
Calculus?
math class.
He
What,
just did.
do I need to specify? That wasn't a
I think
critical
it's good
element.
context.
You also said that after he specified.
I would have made fun of you if it was algebra, though.
Algebra is
Why?
like a snooze fest.
Why would you have made fun of him, Brent?
Because algebra is dumb. You don't need it.
Interesting.
That's a take.
Yeah.
Coming from someone who's
Trust me.
finished
I
calculus.
haven't used. Has a minor in mathematics and a degree in electrical engineering. I haven't used algebra a single time.
Don't you know like the
That's cap.
fundamental whatever principle of algebra off the top of your head too?
I don't know. Like I know like I want to because like the fundamental theory of arithmetic has to do with primes, and then like calculus is basically just an integral. But I don't remember what the fundamental theorem of.
We talked about it the other day or a few weeks ago.
I know. I don't recall. Oh right, it's like a polynomial of degree n has n roots.
Did you have to look that up or you just
No, I summoned it from my internet head,
interesting?
the separate head that I
The-
keep that's connected.
The
to
internet chip with high-speed Wi-Fi in your head? Yeah.
I think I could have gotten it if you gave me infinite time.
Interesting.
Oh, I
Okay.
picked up a voice changer.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Are we about to find out what it sounds like?
I don't know. Which sound do you guys want to hear? Because it also has a soundboard on it.
See, I can just change
Well,
my voice
you-
at will, believe it or not.
Really?
He's gonna do a Venom voice.
I was not planning on doing it, but
But if you were gonna do a Venom.
I was
voice,
trying to
would
think
you?
of something to say in a higher pitched voice, honestly. But would you like me to do the Venom voice?
Not particularly.
Sure, do a Venom voice.
We are Venom. Thank you.
Nice. I haven't seen Venom, so I don't know if that was good.
It just sounds like
It's
multiple
okay.
voices talking at the same time.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean,
should
honestly,
have
it's just
headphones.
more of just a deep voice.
Yeah. Today's segments are
I was about to ask
Random
what today's
Wiki
segments are.
and a hypothetical, because what's a podcast without a hypothetical, and shower
It's
thoughts.
hypothetical, if it's not a podcast.
But be sure to stick around, check out the conclusion, even if you aren't interested in some of our lame segments, because that is where we're going to start doing announcements and calls to action, like listen to the rest of the podcast.
We'll put
We'll
that at
put
the
it
end
in
of
the
the
conclusion.
episode.
Hey, please listen to this episode, guys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if you don't want to, so it's a perfect foolproof plan, right? You tell them in the intro, if you're not going to listen to the entire episode, at least listen to the conclusion. In the conclusion, you say listen to the entire episode.
Indeed.
It was worth it. Oh, maybe in the conclusion we like
We
at the end
give
of
an
every episode
evaluation.
we rate the
I
episode.
mean, we
out of 10.
already do that.
Well, what if we did that? Like in the conclusion, like we just like did a countdown, and all three of us gave our rating of the episode out of 10.
I feel like that could go back a couple of times.
Okay,
I'm down.
the bombastic word is
It's gonna be my final thoughts. It's my rating of the episode.
Gardilu. The definition: used in Edinburgh as a warning cry when it was customary to throw wastewater from the windows into the streets. I don't think I like that.
Yeah, I didn't like that either. Not a fan.
I was like, oh, I should just throw it in at some point in the episode. Then I got impatient.
I was gonna say, if you like held out and really waited for the perfect time, would have been iconic.
I knew it would have been so great if I waited, but I didn't want to sit
You
staring at my
impatient son of a
soundboard
gun.
the entire time. I don't have the patience for this sort of bit. Well, sometimes I do. If I had thought it out more, maybe.
You asked for it. Random wiki back for the 4th time.
Who asked for
But
it? You?
I did.
Yeah.
I did because I listened back and I was like, dang, we're funny. All right. Today, and if you don't know what the segment is, we go to wikipedia.org. We click random article, and then we tell you all about it. We don't actually have to read the article because we're actually really smart.
And you don't have to read the article either. So just
Yeah,
take
no.
our word for this.
Yeah, you, the listener, you too do not need to read the article because we know all about it. And this week, we know all about Neugebauer equations. Daniel, why don't you start us out? Tell us about Neugebauer equations.
Well, these equations, they explain a lot, and we were talking about the fundamental theorem of algebra, but we didn't talk about the fundamental theorem of forming fundamental theorems, and then how do you pronounce this? Neugebauer.
It's Neugebauer.
It's probably Neugebauer, right?
I think so. Neugebauer.
Neugebauer.
Anyway, fundamental theorem of forming fundamental theorems.
Yeah. So this is the math behind, like, they use the Neugebauer equations to determine if these fundamental theorems have any merit. It's like a litmus test of sorts.
Gotcha. And Lindsay, you were telling me what's the most recent iteration of them using these Neugebauer equations?
So these equations, I'm going to avoid saying the term because I knew I'm going to mess it up. The primary use of these equations really comes into play when one cuts their own grass and does other various yard works. It helps make raking leaves the most efficient process ever. And back in 2020 of the 13th month, a random man by the name of Tom Neugebauer decided that the way that people rake leaves just isn't enough. So he decided to adapt the previous equations of this idea, but he decided to rename it with it. And before he applied it to yard work, it was initially found by what, Brent?
I didn't know I was participating. Well, because you see, lawn work is where it's most commonly thought of because that's where it really hit its stride. But actually, it does have some. And like Tom Neugebauer, he rebranded the equations basically, but it actually has roots all the way back in the 1700s, back in Scotland. And because the Neugebauer equations, it's similar to a gradient. So a gradient will give is the derivatives of each respective variables in an equation, and so that tells you the slope of steepest descent, whereas the Neugebauer equations, they would use those for Gardylou purposes in order to find out the optimal place to throw your wastewater. And so they would use these Neugebauer equations to find out Phil's over there, Frank's over there, Mary Sue is over there. So using this Neugebauer equation and those variables, the optimal place to put this wastewater is that way when I shout Gardylou.
Is yonder.
Yonder. Is yonder.
I don't know, because Gardylou is defined as a warning cry. I feel like when you say it, you kind of have to, like, if you're explaining what, I feel like you have to exclaim it like they would. Like, Gardylou! Where is Edinburgh?
You're not wrong. It's like timber with
Scotland.
a tree falling down.
Where is Edinburgh? What country is that?
Scotland.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But yeah, does anyone else have anything else to add on the Neugebauer equations?
Yeah, last I heard, it was also used to format the present-day keyboard and the spacing between the keys.
They also used it to predict what the heads on Easter Island would look like if they were made today.
Can you give us a description on what their results were?
Less forehead.
More five head.
More five head.
The forehead went down 32%, but the five head went up 67%.
Exactly.
Six heads still we we haven't solved the equations to find out how much six head there is yet.
Yeah. We know it's present. You can tell it's clearly present.
We know it exists. We've proved its existence, but we can't specify.
Yeah. It is an unknown factor, but the sixth head is around us at all times, which is proven by the equations, honestly.
It lives inside you. It lives in me. It watches over everything we see.
They've hypothesized that the existence of six head can be proven with the Neugebauer equations, but they haven't quite formulated the exact proof yet, to my knowledge.
And then, like, similar to like out there theories, of course, there's always one guy, right? Someone claims there's seven head, but there's basically nothing backing that up.
Yeah, anyone can throw around talking about a 100th dimension. Like, no one's gonna argue that, but no one can
how are you gonna
support it either.
disprove seven head?
Yeah, exactly.
You can't.
You can't.
But there you go. Those are the Neugebauer equations. If you're curious about them, I don't know why you would look them up elsewhere because we got them right
here.
Yeah,
if you want to read what we just said to you, you should go to the Wikipedia page.
Yeah, I'm looking through it right now, and we didn't miss a single point.
Wow.
Okay, like, to support that, could we start our own wiki page? Like,
for
our own
View.
wiki website. Yeah.
What?
Dude,
this is
like
actually
on
a perfect
fandom?
time. I'm glad you guys brought it up. We do have a new website we've launched. We wiki. What would it be? Wiki Bombastic Few. We know Bombastic Few.
I thought you had a website title.
I had it. Then I changed my mind halfway through because I didn't like.
The bit would have worked so well.
We Fantastic Few.
No, we
Honestly,
Wicktastic.
That's kind of great.
What
we Wicktastic. Wick is.
I
don't
hate
know.
that.
Yeah.
I think either Wiki Bombastic Few or no pun at all. It's just We Bombastic Few. wiki.fandom.com/We Bombastic Few.
Mm-hmm. You could find articles on William A. Clark, Feg Hoots, Walgrange Station, and the Neugebauer equations.
Yes.
No.
And there you go.
But, you know, the way I thought Lindsay was going originally, we should make our own Wikipedia page about this podcast.
No, just about those terms that we've used, that we've described.
Well, I mean, certainly those Wikipedia pages. No,
to
I'm saying we should go on
accuracy.
Wikipedia and make an article titled We Bombastic Few, and then see what we can come up with to put in there.
Okay, that's not a bad idea, but that's not what I was thinking. But I will take credit for it, if it's a good idea.
When it inevitably ends up on Random Wiki Race, like, we're gonna blow up. That's the key.
So Joe Rogan has a page on Wikipedia. Why don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's second to us, right?
And then the pictures of the hosts are just from the icon.
Obviously.
Yeah, clearly.
Which, actually, I'll save that for the conclusion. But big news in the conclusion. Stick around.
Potential news. Kinks to be worked out.
Kinks to be worked out.
But before we get to that, we have a quote,
timeline.
I'm pretty sure.
I was getting there. I definitely had a transition ready. Bombastic quote. Nailed it. I adore spontaneity as long as it's carefully planned. That brings us to this week's hypothetical. Because what is a podcast without a hypothetical? So, as we all know, the world is led by one person. Our gracious and humble leader, Ronald McDonald. And, you know, one day, Ronald was... Executive McDonald, I should say, was looking through the data, and he was trying to figure out, like, how can we Earthlings be more productive how can the human race increase efficiency of all processes? And, this is something he was mulling over for a long time. I read his autobiography, and this is where I learned how this came about. And he, decided, this was really stressing him out. Decided he needed to relax, and he was watching some Phineas and Ferb. And it suddenly dawned on him, hey, I like the way these kids, Phineas and Ferb, do things. We should be more like that. And so he executive ordered, put it into law worldwide, that it is illegal to take longer than a day to complete any task. And so now the world efficiency, it has to increase, or you are breaking global law.
Okay. So
we're gonna figure that out. Also, just a side note, I think we've given McDonald's like at least 3 hypotheticals around them at this point.
Have we really?
Because I know there was the enslaved at McDonald's, but I feel like there's one more.
I mean, we talked about McDonald's for diabetic robots, right?
That's what he was talking about, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, is that the same one? Okay. I was, yeah. I wasn't sure.
But,
my first thought is, okay, so say my task is I gotta drive 25 hours away, all right?
Well, yeah, my first question is, so you said a day, is that 24 hours? Because, like, technically Phineas and Ferb finished by the afternoon, and they started, like, at 10 a.m.
This is true. The alternative, I was kind of going back and forth between, like, should it just be a day, or should it be, like, you're brought before a council of Disney executives or Phineas and Ferb animators, and they determine if Phineas and Ferb could have done your task faster if you're caught taking more than a day to do it or something.
The answer is always yes. Phineas and Ferb did everything faster than any human has ever done. Like, they invented space travel in a day. That took us, depending on when you want to start counting, a lot more than a day.
Millennia.
Yeah.
But
roller coaster. Yeah, they did all the things in a day. Yeah, they've never done anything that you could match.
Okay, but
which is why I turned away from that. I still think there should be a board of Phineas and Ferb executives as, like, the council.
What's the criteria to be elected to this board?
You have to have been
chosen?
an animator on Phineas and Ferb.
Dang, they really got ahead in life. They didn't know it at the time, but I should have gone to art school.
Yeah, for real. And been born, like,
I was an
a decade
idiot and
earlier.
became an engineer. Gosh darn it. Why am I so dumb?
You kind of threw your life away.
Honestly, yeah. I regret it.
You could have been animating Phineas and Ferb. Now, what do you think about that? You could have been animating the next Phineas and Ferb right now.
Okay. Don't bring up the idea of rebooting it. What's the punishment?
that's a great question.
I mean, I suppose it would depend on the task, right? Like, what if it takes you 25 hours to brush your teeth? But then you have to consider, like...
Capital punishment.
Like, if it's a very basic task and they took that long to do it, I mean, maybe they have, like, a really incredible Rube Goldberg machine. You know?
That punishes you?
No, like, like, if it's something that grandiose, like, maybe that's, like, not punished, right? Like,
so
wow, you turn this mundane task into such a large scale, like, that's just impressive.
So, which begs the question...
Or we could just say it's the bigger punishment, the more, like, lopsided, like, how long it should have taken you.
Okay. So...
Well, but even, is it
my gosh, I've been trying to ask questions so many times. You guys keep cutting me off. You will shut your mouths.
Let me go first.
Let me finish his last part.
No.
Like, are we talking jail time? Is it like a fine?
Do I have to repeat myself? No. Okay.
Lindsay, ask your question.
Do you? Okay. I had 2 questions that got cut off, but does the punishment happen
Instantaneously?
Like, are you required to finish your task and then you get punished because you took more time than just a day, or are you punished for attempting to take more than just a day? Because you could, in theory, still be able to complete things, right?
Yeah, I mean, in theory, but
Like, will they stop you? Like, you've been working on something for 23 hours and 59 minutes. Are they gonna come and physically stop you at 24 hours?
Yeah,
or are
yeah,
they
yeah.
gonna let you finish and then punish you after?
For the
I
waste of
mean,
time, yeah.
I mean, I feel like it's more so like you could probably get away with doing something longer than 24 hours. 'Cause it's just a matter of whether you get caught or not. But like, if they catch you and they're like, "Whoa, according to this documentation, you started 26 hours and 7 minutes ago. What's the deal here?" And then I
I like the idea of them being omniscient and knowing all, like Santa.
the Phineas and Ferb animators are omnipresent.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
My second question.
Because if you can get away with it, then you just like suddenly it just becomes an underground society.
My other question was, so say I've got a 25-hour task, and we're going off the 20. It takes no more than 24 hours is the rule, by what we're going by, and so like say my goal is like, okay, I'm gonna drive to, I don't know what's 25 hours away, but say somewhere in California. Takes me so long to get there. What if I instead of saying, okay, my final destination is California, what if I was like, yo, I'm just going to happen to stop right here? Is it okay to like kind of more or less just divvy up your big task?
So you
Yeah.
break up your goal into subtasks.
Yeah. Do
So
you have to
let-
like
so-
plan
But
that
then, I
far in
mean-
advance pretty much, or what's going on?
Well, so let's say, like, let's go with, for whatever reason, brushing my teeth is going to take me 25 hours. Like, all right, so my first task is get my toothbrush out. That's my goal. And so that's going to take me 8 hours. But that's fine. And then, like, my next
Is it a
task
really
is putting
complicated safe?
toothpaste. Yeah. My next task is putting toothpaste on the toothbrush. And that will take me 8 hours. But it's completed. And so it's fine. Like, I feel like because like all you'd need to do is say my mini goal was to move my arm 3 inches, which I had achieved, and so I feel like you have to define end goals.
Yeah.
Or like but like it's hard to, because who really knows their
So,
end
so
goal?
maybe it's not like mundane things like that. It's more like day-to-day stuff probably isn't affected, but like construction.
I just think we wouldn't build stuff anymore. Like,
Well, okay, sure.
We would only repair stuff, because it's like you could repair something within 24 hours, but especially anything larger than like a single-story house with an army of people, you could not build in one day.
Maybe that's how cities are built now. Like, all the buildings like become attached so that you could just build on top of them and progressively scale upward and outward like a pyramid. And then there's just like those walking, like in airports, how they have those like
Sky bridges.
yeah, sky bridges, or just like the long treadmill thing.
Mm-hmm.
And
My
that's how
concern
you
would
get
be
it.
is that like the original architect of the base layer did not intend for many more things being built on.
Yeah,
But
but I mean, it takes. I bet you could like prep a base layer in less than 24 hours.
But okay, so like, are we ever gonna build a rocket again? Because like, I don't think it's I think, or like, I guess at this point with like assembly lines, you could build a car in a day probably. But like or like an airplane, like, would we ever build any more of those? Because like they could not be built in a day.
I mean, you say that. Could we not build a plane in a day?
Yeah,
Like,
I
let-
guess
let's
it would just
say
turn.
we smith, like all the parts get like made. and,
Okay,
like,
so,
separate parts,
so
and then they get
suddenly
assembled.
now we've broken it down into that goes back to my thing of like, I consider that having subdivided the task.
Well, no,
To me,
it's
it
all
feels like
happening
you have to go from raw
simultaneously.
materials to
Like you build
it-
all
okay,
the
then-
parts of the plane simultaneously, it gets assembled, and then bam,
I
just fill
feel like you
that
need
sucker
a-
up with gas.
plain gas.
Yeah. Fuel.
I feel like factories became the size of like Rhode Island for everything to happen simultaneously, and to have like all these concurrent processes. You would need to have so many factories next to each other. Like you would basically say it's like this county of this state is exclusively for making ham sandwiches, because those take so long to make.
So is brushing your teeth.
Yeah, if brushing your teeth takes 25 hours, then making a ham sandwich definitely takes longer than 24.
And you have to brush your teeth twice a day, so, or however many times you decide to do it. And if making a ham sandwich takes very long, then you're going to have to stop and brush your teeth. So are we going to get anything done?
I think if it takes you 25 hours to brush your teeth, you're exempt from brushing your teeth twice a day. As in, partially because you are incapable of doing so, but also partially because presumably you spent at minimum like 12 hours of that still brushing your teeth, maybe.
I don't know.
You know what I am thinking though.
I do know what you're thinking. I want to hear it.
I don't know how I'm getting there, but you know what I'm thinking. But because you know what guaranteed takes more than a day, updating the Netflix homepage. Like you can't accomplish that in a day.
Much less get the movie in.
Yeah, exactly. And you certainly couldn't film new movies, and so what's the streaming services don't have their originals anymore, so what was the point of them?
Movie theaters only air home films now.
Exactly. Well, yeah. Well, or it's just short films now. Anyway, but so there'll be a big rise in demand for the old movies because you can watch that within a day, and so luckily DVDs can be created within a day, and so say it with me.
Blockbuster's coming back, baby.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I was
As
more
is about
excited about.
sports.
I mean, traveling. I think it's back to
Olympics.
traveling, like traveling as a team and stuff.
Ooh, I didn't think about that. But yeah, I don't feel like traveling. I don't know. What's the farthest teams normally go? For
Coast to coast probably is the furthest.
What for
yeah,
like
presumably there are international teams.
like national leagues, or rather like let's just say North American leagues.
Is there a
baseball
Russia
and hockey.
national league? Is there a Russia national league that like has to go from like one end of Russia to the other end of Russia?
I bet there is, and then there's there's all sorts of sports that like travel internationally.
Mm-hmm. Well, the thing I was thinking about was the Olympics, because the Olympics is like a several-week event, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you have to
Is the
condense it down
Olympics
into a
one
day.
thing?
Yeah, it's a
You
one-day
can't-
event.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, you can't, or you just can't consider it like the Olympics. You have to be like, okay, today's the tennis championship or world championship or whatever.
The Olympics
And-
is broken up throughout the year.
Or let's
This
take
is-
like the
Go ahead.
World Series, right? It's like 7 games. Do those 7 games have to happen back to back to back?
Yeah, I feel
That
like
would
it
be
does.
intense. Oh my!
Yeah,
Could you imagine?
It would become so less. By the 6th game, the players are just kind of like moping around the field and casually walking to the bases. They can't be bothered.
Like
Everyone
team
wants
rosters
the
get
ball.
so much bigger just because
Oh,
players
yeah,
can't
yeah, yeah.
physically exert themselves for that long.
Or maybe you find somewhere. We make a new place that has 7 baseball diamonds, and you play all 7 games at the same time.
Every team now has 7 teams.
Well, no, because only one person's. You can only have 4 people like batting playing, right? And then just you need a lot of outfield people, and so you'd have like a specific set of like batters. You need a lot. You need a lot of outfield people, but.
How many? I was gonna say you'd almost have to do it
Is it called
simultaneously
defense?
or shorten the World Series from a 7-game series, because
No, we can't do that. That's illegal.
a baseball game usually takes what, like 3 hours, 4 hours.
I'd say around there. like 3.5, my guess.
Yeah,
Sure.
so 3.5 hours, that puts you over 24 hours, even if you went back to back to back to back, you know, if it went to full game 7.
Which honestly, but the thing is I don't know, I think it probably would, because people got so tired they couldn't hit the ball anymore.
Well, like,
Or-
I think it was
or
Daniel
the
that said they
outfield
had bigger
hours.
teams, but hear me out. You overlap, like, innings, so, like, you got multiple, like, defense.
Both teams
like,
are pitching at the same time.
Yes,
Both
correct.
teams are batting.
Correct.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So the baseball
Oh,
diamond
man.
becomes 2 diamonds. And so, like, one team's batting on the one end, one team's batting on the other end, and the outfielders for each team are just, like, running past each other.
I feel like it became infinitely more dangerous. The odds of you getting hit by a ball that would be terrifying.
No, you have
Like,
more people in the outfield so that you have to trust your teammates to catch the ball and not let it hit you.
Well, no, you could be batting, and if you really hit a zinger, you could hit your own pitcher who's pitching on the other side of the field.
So it's a lot more strategic all of a
On the
sudden.
other diamond.
It's a contact sport too. You're allowed to tackle now.
Yeah, like the outfielders going after each other, like you can stop them
Uh-huh.
from like making plays.
Well, because if you steal, like, if you can steal a ball, like, from the other team, and it's like counts for your out.
oh,
but
that would
also,
be
like-
sick.
But like, so like theoretically, so you, like, your teammate has hit the ball, right? And you catch it, like that, your teammate's still in, and you guys get an out for the other game.
I think we just made a new
Does that make
sport.
sense? Yeah.
Like, we just at least double up on every sport.
Well, what should we call it? Baseballs. No.
Baseball squared.
Baseball 2.
I just
I
watched-
like that.
You ever see basketball?
A long time ago.
Yeah, I had seen it a long time ago, and I rewatched part of it.
It's kind of the same
reminds
vibe
me of
as
an idea.
What movie I'm thinking of. It's like another like comedy baseball movie.
Dodgeball.
I mean, it's the same vibe as that too. I don't know what I'm thinking of. It'll come to me later. If anyone knows
The
the
Notebook.
movie I'm talking about, in my mind, Vince Vaughn is in it, but I don't know. And it's not dodgeball.
It's dodgeball, apparently.
It's not dodgeball.
It's dodgeball.
It's not dodgeball. I swear.
I have an idea to mix up baseball too, but I won't throw that in here because it's already getting too. We're talking too much about baseball.
What do you got? What do you got?
No,
5
no,
seconds, tops.
It's gonna be a future.
You
future
shouldn't have
pitch.
brought it up.
No, it's a hint.
It's a hint.
Or it's a
Sneak
it's a-
peek.
not a hint. I don't know why it would be, it's a clue as to what the future holds.
Oh, okay.
So,
All
a
right.
sneak
Well,
peek.
one more thing. Like, I thought of this because I was thinking about how much I hate this road construction that's happening, like, on the intersection closest to my apartment.
Yeah.
And that intersection was already like one of the worst intersections in town, and like they're tearing up like all of it, and so everything's like one lane, and you're surrounded by construction stuff. And then there's a Walmart off this intersection that was like one of the most annoying parking lots to get out of, and now it's even more annoying because there's also like way more traffic because of the construction. So it's like ruining my life.
Okay, quick question. Sorry. But I know we're trying to wrap this up. However, what if my goal is to retire? I'm 23 years old. I can't do that
Okay.
in one day.
Sure you can. Just gotta get on that grind set. Passive income.
But that's still
Take the
Working
dinner
on
with Jay-Z.
Wait, okay, I'm not following. Why can't you retire?
because I'm saying my goal, my task is to retire.
Oh,
I can't do that within a day. I don't know I don't know where your mind went, but that was
It's
pretty
not- it's not-
simple.
it's not a very-
well, no, I
it's not
thought
a very
you were saying
frugal
like
retirement,
you would
but-
get fired from work or something.
No, yeah, like I want to like healthily retire financially.
Hopefully.
But
Do,
like
I have an unrelated question, so finish what you were saying.
you take I guess you just take your entire day's pay and just go to the casino and put it all in
Yeah,
black.
there you go.
Hope for the best.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I do. Hasn't worked yet, but one day.
One
I'm gonna
day
quit the
will
podcast
When
stick.
it
in a
works,
second.
And I
will
will be able to
all
go
be
grocery
worth it.
shopping.
Uh-huh.
Do you guys think, like, how fast do you think like road work could actually get done. Have you ever wondered that? Because like you'll see construction up for like months, right? And you're like, there's no way it takes that long.
I think the things you would have to think about is like cement and concrete setting, right?
Right.
As I've established before, civil's the most boring forms of engineering, and so I don't know.
That's a throwback. I think that's season 1.
That is season 1.
That might be episode 1.
That is not. No, I don't think it's episode 1. I think it was first Qualgorithm, actually, the cycle. Back when Qualgorithm was the cycle. I'm nearly certain. Because I came up with it.
It was before
during the Christmas party, which was of 2019. I'm
thinking it was before the Thanksgiving episode. Did cycle happen before that? Where's the list? No, it happened after. I don't know.
Not important.
Yeah, I was gonna
anyway,
say unimportant.
Does anyone have any thoughts before we take a moment? Word from our sponsors.
Phineas and Ferb are like true legends. That's my only thought.
Literal absolute chads. Insane.
Kings. Also, I was wrong. I looked at it wrong. The cycle did happen 1 week before the Thanksgiving episode.
There you go. Anyway, okay. Nope. Ad break. Inverted goggles. You've had dry eye before, maybe. It's super annoying whenever your eyes don't have enough moisture in them. Well, inverted goggles, they had this problem too, and they decided they were going to do something about it. Now, you might be familiar with normal goggles. You wear them when you're swimming. It keeps the water out of your eyes. Well, with inverted goggles, it keeps the water in your eyes. You wear them normal just every day around town, and they keep water on your eyes at all times, so that way your eyes never get dry. Daniel, you were telling me that you were using these earlier today. How do you like them?
Oh, they're great. I mean, when the wind really starts blowing, and normally, my eyes would get so dry, like I'd scratch my nose on them, but now, thanks to the inverted goggles, I don't have this problem.
And Lindsay, I think they sent you a pair too.
I have yet to try them out. However, I've only heard good things. Genuinely excited to try them out. Jeez. I will be testing them out on my drive today. Going to stick my head out of the window like a dog, because on the back of the box, that's what it says I can do with these inverted goggles.
Well, Lindsay, our sponsorship money was contingent on us trying the product and reviewing it on the podcast. So
was it?
Everything Lindsay said is alleged. People have accused him of not using it yet.
I have used it for my previously said purpose, and it was fantastic.
Wow.
Yep. So if you suffer from dry, get yourself a pair of inverted goggles. You can use the code We Bombastic Few to get 32% off. And that's it from inverted goggles.
32% off. That's a huge discount.
Mm-hmm. It's because you see, it's like 20, 32 vision.
Numbers.
Numbers.
Neugebauer.
Gardy Lou.
Yeah, I was gonna say Gardy Lou.
Gardy Lou.
What's next?
All right. Final and potentially the best segment after Hypothetical. We have shower thoughts making a return. In this segment, we're going to throw out some interesting thoughts. Is a very dumbed down way of saying it. First one we got is a different version of you exists in the minds of everyone who knows you.
Do I need to be concerned about them? Is this a prestige situation here?
Yes, it is a prestige. Thank you for shouting out the best movie in existence.
Don't know about that one. It is on top 250 though. So.
It is on the top 1 movie.
What if you had to compete with every single other version of yourself in everyone else's head?
I would win.
Or similarly, like what if like people's like what if people's interpretation of you like affects who you are? Like you don't know it consciously, but like you're like being affected just because that interpretation of you is being projected onto your personality.
Well, theoretically, they'd treat you according to their image of you, and that would make you respond differently, right?
I mean, potentially, I was more so saying like, okay, Brent and I have a conversation. I feel like it was a perfect conversation, but he took something I said the wrong way that I didn't intend. So he goes away from the conversation thinking that I'm like a very mean
He
person.
shouted Guardy Lou in my face and then threw wastewater on me.
So
he thought it was fine, but
This
So
would be a good
one-
hypothetical.
yeah, I guess so. But so one person's thinking that I'm a mean person. So like, let's just say I slightly become a little more of a mean person, like very small amount. I guess this kind of goes back to one of our previous ones with like the
I was thinking about the
percentage.
percent compatible.
compatible. Yeah. But yeah, that'd be interesting.
You know how easy it would be to create a super villain to create an evil army? All he had to do is like think poorly of people. Like, man, that guy's a jerk, and then just slowly just scale it up.
Just like easily make a dystopia present. Okay.
This was another
Next one.
As an identical triplet, you're simultaneously one of the rarest and the most common people on the planet.
Is that a thing?
I was just gonna say it. Like, I guess that could happen
Well,
based on my absolute not a knowledge of anything genetics or.
It has a picture of like animated triplets, and I don't know if I think it's from the movie Brave. I'm
is
not
there
100% sure.
a recorded
but-
incident of identical triplets.
Whoa.
Hold on.
Yes, it can happen
yes,
because
but
Star
very rare.
Wars.
Okay.
Excuse
well, now
me?
I want to know.
The clones, you guys are. No.
So identical triplets can exist, very rare. Identical quadruplets is so rare, occurring anywhere from 1 in 11 million to 1 in 15 million. I don't know. That doesn't feel that
okay.
rare, honestly.
Rare set of identical triplets born at the hospital and then it cuts off. But the article is from August 2nd this year, to 2021. One in 200 million is like the rate of identical triplets.
Well, that doesn't make sense, because then how is identical quadruplets 1 in 11 million?
What? Hold on a minute. This is from
All right,
ABC
well, now-
6 Action News in Philadelphia.
That was from today.com under health under identical quadruplets. Okay, anything beyond that, I don't know. Anyway, I like that shower thought. That's a fun thought.
Making a typo in an online argument is the equivalent of a voice cracking in a verbal argument.
I don't think so, because I don't think if your voice cracks in a if you make a typo in an internet argument, you've lost. If you make a voice crack in your verbal argument, you're getting made fun of.
Okay.
But you didn't lose the argument.
See, like I would agree with you. However, I know some people that get heavily embarrassed by their voice cracking in an argument. So I feel like to them, that could be the defeat. Like in their minds, that could be the defeat of an argument. Like they no longer could take you seriously because you just sounded like a clown for a second.
Yeah, I think a better thing would be if you pronounced a word wrong.
Yeah.
I would claim that is a better comparison.
As
Pronounce
a
a-
master,
pronounce a
Idiot
word
who
wrong
came up with
right
this shower
now.
thought.
as a professional in voice cracking, Daniel, what are your thoughts?
As an expert in the field and one of the most experienced amongst our colleagues, I'd say you just kind of have to own it and laugh along in order to not lose. But that's easier for some than others, and so I could see that being the definitive. You just lost this interaction.
I was really hoping for you to like purposely attempt a voice crack in the middle of
I-
that.
I
tangent.
was
I
waiting
almost
for it.
had an actual voice crack during that. I want you guys to know.
was-
I like felt it, like
I
right
was
at the
really
end.
excited for you to try, but you disappointed. That's all good.
But I won this interaction though.
Is that so?
Take that.
Insert
Science.
voice crack here. Once we have
Patreon.
self-driving cars, wipers will no longer be essential because the car doesn't need a clean windshield to drive. Only humans
But-
do. Okay, I think the first
But
half
you
of
would
that
still
summed up-
want I'd still want to see out my window, right?
I mean, it says essential. It doesn't say, like, it doesn't say you won't have a windshield anymore. It simply just says you won't necessarily need to have it clean. Like, you don't need to have
What-
perfect vision because, like, I'm guessing they're implying that it's like foolproof system.
Yeah.
You
But
know
what if the sensors are kept on the windshield? and
That's
water
what I was gonna
interferes with
say.
them?
Whatever lens the sensors are coming out of will need
Presumably, it would
windshield.
use radar, or some form of like I don't think they would use a visual system. But what if the water messes with the radar?
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot. I mean, that's probably one of the biggest problems with like creating the technologies that there's so many variables that could interfere with it.
Yeah,
I was
like,
really hoping
it-
you were going to say the biggest problem with creating it is rain. Like, we cannot figure out how to fix this problem.
Yeah,
Like I know
mean,
that's been like
honestly,
a big topic recently. Is like self-driving car. Haven't they like gotten it to work on some level?
They had operational self-driving cars in like 2010. So whenever someone says, "Oh, they're close to self-driving cars," I don't know what they mean because
Maybe more
technically
accurate?
we've already done it.
Well, yeah, but like, I would agree with you. However, like, if people were to be more excited about the increased like accuracy of, or what's the?
But I feel like at this point it would be such a hard thing to like measure. It's like, so how are you measuring our improvement at this point? It'd be so specific of, oh, if there's a truck. Here's a like a fun problem I've seen before. This might take a lot of time, but we're gonna do it anyway. So basically, it's an ethics problem given for a self-driving car. Let's say so the car's driving, right, and it's behind a truck with logs in it, and to the left of the truck there's a car. To the right of the truck is a motorcycle, and the logs from the truck fall down. What should it do? Should it prioritize protecting its passenger and crash into the car or motorcycle, or should it not endanger the motorcycle or car by like not crashing into it and then just taking the logs and like hurting its own passengers?
Yeah, I mean, it just goes back to like a lot of standard like ethics questions, like dilemmas. I feel
Well,
like
no, I want us to give an attempt at it, but then also let's say it wants to protect its passenger, which I think fairly reasonable to assume. Does it crash into the car or into the motorcycle with the like presumption, or like crashing into the car with the presumption that the motorcycle is going to take more damage? But then what if there are like 4 people in the car?
Why can't the car hit the brakes?
It didn't have brakes.
It didn't have brakes. I was actually about to bring this up before you started. I was trying to figure out how to word it. Like, so like right now we have like little lights that come on, like check your oil or tire pressure, whatever like lights your car has that come on, or notifications. So like when self-driving cars are around, like will the maintenance need ever reach a point that the self-driving car is just like, you're not going anywhere except for the mechanic. Are you free to go to the mechanic now? And like, it just forces you to go to the mechanic the next time you drive it.
Honestly, why do you have to be in it? Why can't it go to the mechanic itself and get fixed and then come back?
I was
and
gonna
maybe it stops for some food on the way and picks up a girl and then
It stops at the
drives
gas
off.
station.
Yeah, it meets a nice Cybertruck. They hit it off, and then suddenly they're gone. You don't have a car anymore. It left you.
It had car babies, which in the Cars canon, this exists.
Mm-hmm. Don't ask how or why.
I don't want to know.
Exactly.
I should watch Cars again. I haven't seen Cars since I was like in elementary school.
Okay. Speaking of animation, I got one more for you.
All right, yeah. Give us a
Hit
final.
me.
Make it a good one.
Gen Z might have been the last generation to know what it's like to get up early in the morning to catch your favorite cartoons on TV. I feel like that is like
That's barely a shower thought.
whatever. I think that's interesting. Like just put in perspective like how far away we are from like channels almost. Like we just like aren't. Like,
TV is dead, as it should be.
I'm
I'm a big proponent of
It's
killing
not
TV.
even as dead as
your
it
father
should
would
be.
argue.
This is true.
Well, but we got rid of TV because it's
you did?
like you don't need
Nice.
it. Like it's useless.
Yeah, we haven't.
It's a
had
waste
TV
of money.
for a little
It's
bit.
stupid expensive too. It's more expensive than internet, which is the most mind-boggling thing in the universe.
I heard like I obviously was a child or an infant at that time, but like I think over a decade or between a decade or two ago, like there was someone that was like trying to like when like Netflix first started coming out. I don't know when it was, so timeline could be messed up there.
I
But
think that was around like 2000. I found out about Netflix in like 2011, I think.
so like
But-
apparently there's someone that made this big post or article pretty much saying like within X amount of years streaming services is going to be just like cable, where like everyone's wanting their own channel and like doing their own exclusives and stuff like that, so you're going to have to pay for all of them, which was what happened with TV and is very much what's happening with a streaming service now. Like I feel like every other week I'm hearing, oh, there's this streaming service now. Oh, there's this streaming service now. Now NBC's got Peacock. They're just a random channel doing it, and like we already had freaking Hulu and Netflix, and that was enough. But now we have every freaking streaming service from every.
The ones that
possible
get me
party.
are like Paramount Plus. It's like I don't even know what you would put on that. Like,
Oh, I
but
remember
I
seeing
have
that
no
at,
idea what
like in the
Paramount
Super Bowl
owns.
or something. Was it like? Yeah, honestly, I don't even remember what they had Nickelodeon shows on Paramount Plus, right? Or
Couldn't tell you. No idea. But yeah, on Google, when you search movies, you can tell it which streaming services you have, so it'll automatically like recommend, oh, you can watch it on this. And if you go to the list of, it's like, oh, which one do you have? It's you can scroll a long time, which is kind of I'd love to know how much it would be if you had all streaming services. It'd get to be pretty hard to calculate because it's like, what do you qualify?
like
But-
what's the popularity count that you have to?
Yeah.
Or
Well,
yeah,
honestly, or if you just straight up went off the Google list. If it's not on the Google list, you don't do it.
yeah.
But it'd be interesting. But I think with that final nugget of wisdom for you to chew on over the week, that's going to bring us into the conclusion and the end of season 7. What? That's not right. Season 3, episode 8. The agenda was wrong. Who the heck labeled the agenda? Gosh darn it, you're fired. Yep, definitely was one of you two. Anyway, we also haven't said which season or episode it has been in like forever. Anyway, it's the conclusion time. So you know what that means. Like, comment, subscribe, follow. We appreciate all the support you can give to this channel. We're still on that TikTok. If you're into TikTok or you just want to see a funny little clip from the episode that's animated, sorta. Our handle, if you call it that, is We Bombastic Few. No caps, no spaces, no underscores. Also, side note, I would have shouted this out a long time ago if we were doing the podcast at the time, but I actually have 2 video games that you can download and play for free if you're interested. I think they're pretty neat, and so I thought I'd tell the world about it. It's on a website called itch.io, and if you search BMoneyDC, BMoneyDC, you can see the 2 games I've released. One's a strategy game that you can play by yourself or with other people, and the other one's kind of like a running game, sort of like Temple Run or Ninjago, if you remember or know what that is. But those are just some, if you get bored and you want to have something to do, there you go. Final thoughts, Lindsay.
Did you say Ninjago? Wasn't that the Lego Ninja?
Ninja.
Yeah.
That was it. I'm sorry, Ninja.
Okay.
I did watch
the old
Ninjago.
iPhone game.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ninja
Like a wall
was
runner
fire.
type thing.
Yo, I kind of want to download that now.
Dang, he's
That game
hyping
was
you up,
fire.
Brent.
I looked for it. I think he's saying he wants to download Ninjump, not Lawman Spurs, which is what
Yeah,
it's called.
I
The other
was
one's called
talking about
Couch Game.
Ninjump.
Oh, I thought
Tell you what, Ninjump is not available for download, I'm pretty sure, because I looked it up the other day. But you know it is available for download? Lawman Spurs, and it's cowboy themed, which makes it infinitely better.
Okay, I love cowboys much as the next guy, but are cowboys really cooler than ninjas?
Yeah.
Name 11 ways.
I'll give you. Because the only movie I can think of is A Million Ways to Die in the West, and then I guess there's what's the something 7. There's a Hateful Eight.
Fast
but they're
7.
not really cowboys.
Furious 7.
No.
What's that movie
No.
called? Fast and Furious 7.
It's like it's not this, but it's like Significant 7.
Oh,
Lindsay,
the
final
Netflix
thoughts.
one?
Yeah, whatever.
Fantastic Four.
Nope.
We
Although
Bombastic
that is a
Few.
cowboy movie.
I don't have final thoughts.
Okay, that's fine. Daniel.
7.5 out of 10.
Okay, there you go. Shout out to Mom. Will Smith comes to the podcast, and I think we have dotted all our I's, crossed all our T's, and that will bring us to the end of the episode for real this time. And with that, you all should have a bombastic week. We'll catch you next time.